beautiful minds, welcome to the Lyfebites show where you're being motivated and inspired for your better self. It's your girl Eve and I'm the host of Lyfebites. For those who are just joining us, specifically our new subscribers and our new viewers, I want to especially welcome you to this great platform. Today I bring to you a discussion that is very, very heartbroken. It's disheartening to me personally. The sex trafficking in Edo State, Nigeria. A CNN woman went as an undercover to Edo State to do some research on this. A report had a stigma which says Edo State is the main hub for trafficking, and that is a big stigma. So I thought we should deliberate on this topic. I have my lovely guest on set with me, who's also very intellectual, and they're here with me to treat this issue. My first question is, what do you think is the reason behind Edo girls embarking on such dangerous trip?
The root of the problem. It is a problem, but this problem has a root, and there are different parts of the problem. So it's a systemic problem, really. Now, so when you say this is the reason, what is the main reason? One may not do justice to the question that way. In my opinion, I would say the main reason is there are not enough jobs in Edo State or in Nigeria per se because of the unemployment. But that opens up another aspect of it.
Yeah, because in the northern part, I won't know that the poverty there is worse than in Edo State.
That's right.
So, but you will hardly see a northerner send her child for prostitution.
That's right.
So why is it not happening there and it's happening in Edo State?
You know, there are many excuses that could be hung on to by these girls to say why they're doing it. But like I mentioned earlier, and I wrote an article about this yesterday, there are parts of the problem. Now, the root of the problem is that it's historical, really. Slavery has been, or not just sex slavery, but slavery per se, has been historically linked to southern Nigeria. Edo State in particular, being, I don't know how much you know about our history. Lagos State is really a core, and a core is really the departure point of the slaves. You know, obviously it's not just Edo, it's not just Benin, it's all of West Africa really.
Yeah.
But what I'm trying to say is that it's more like old habits die hard. In harsh times, people will look for that, or actually what has happened now is that the trafficking industry have looked for a soft spot, and I found that in Edo State to be somewhere they could capitalize on.
Yeah, I think you're very right, and I think we still have to go back to the fact that it's poverty.
Yeah.
But then what makes it different from the northern part of Nigeria is because everyone has values, different values. Like even though I'm poor, there's certain things I would not do. Yeah, and there's certain way that poverty will hit you as a person. That there's certain things you would not want to do, you end up doing. The reason why people are actually really motivated into that area, in that part, is because many region, not only Edo people, it comes from all part of the country, even all part of Africa. As in, prostitution is now a sector. It generates money to the people doing this thing, because in the western part of the world, they're legal for prostitution. So it's like an invitation for people to actually plight their trade. But then when you go back, when I heard about the story, it was deep because I was emotional by it. I was like, okay, children as young as 14 and 16 going through all this. So I was very emotional by it, and I went about it the hard way. I spoke to a neighbor of mine from Edo State and everything. Okay. So he told me that, yeah, you understand my sentiment, but I have to see the realistic point of view. Like, it's deeper than what I think. It's people, part of the government, they're coming to this part. He's saying even the immigration services know about it. He's talking about all the political parties. Many people know about this in the government. Who are giving them passport, the journey, the transport system. It's like it's generating money, and not just for the people doing it in Nigeria, also for the government that's receiving these people, because it's legal for them. So it's a sector for them. It's added to the GDP. And vulnerable people, vulnerable young girls that have no family, no guardian in this part of the country would survive off these things because they don't have anyone to feed them. So they sell their body already in their hometown. So it's easy for them to take it to the further next step when they see an avenue to travel to another country and make bigger money from it. So it's luring at the same time. It's a tragedy, but that's why it's easy. That's why people can do that. because of the poverty and the invitation in the West. But the camera is on Edo people.
Right now.
But we need to look beyond that, because when there's a stigma in our area, for example, we all Nigerians say we're all corrupt.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we are not corrupt individually, but as a whole, they say Nigeria is corrupt.
Yeah.
So I think there are many people coming to Edo State, and you take on the tradition and culture and show them, and they travel out the world, because that is where it's happening from. The stigma is gonna be on Edo people. Till it goes away, then you can say, okay, Edo people are not. But because it's happening, it's coming from that place, all Edo people are gonna be robbed on that stereotype.
The stereotype for the Edo people, unfortunately, prostitution is one of them that has stuck. But there are other things too that we should focus on. For example, I mean, Edo State is known for the GDP. It's also known for currency. It's also known for rubber. For rubber.
The bronze.
For bronze, for the brass. You know, tourism. Industry-wise, as you know from my book, I broke down sector by sector which part of the country is producing what.
Okay.
Now, unfortunately, when it comes to the negative side, when it comes to prostitution, because of the historical connection, the trafficking industry, the sex labor industry, has focused on where it's easier for them to ply their trade, and it is going to be a just state. When it comes to the habits of Nigeria, the Midwesterners, more than any other part of Nigeria, has this tendency of wanting to arrive overnight a little bit more. I may be wrong compared to Lagos, because Lagos is a little bit unique, okay? Now, this attitude of wanting to oppress and wanting to show off happens a lot, because when people travel abroad, they now come back, splash, you know, you spend 2 years saving a lot of money, spend 2 weeks, you know, to splash all that money away, and people will think they are rich all of the time.
Yeah, it's all rosy.
Whereas that's not the case. They will not think with foresight to think that these people are only showing up to us, but they want to show up like them too. Now that attitude is part of the problem.
What do you think about the popular phrase that people go about saying Edo girls are prostitutes? I get that a lot. They have this notion that Edo girls are promiscuous, they're prostitutes. Like it's really bad.
They are being stereotypical and just going by labels, not trying to think. It's not even possible that all Edo girls will be prostitutes. It's not even feasible. The stereotype is there, but for me, I feel like it's up to us Edo people, or those people who are Edo, to disprove it to them that look, not all Edo people, not all Edo girls are prostitutes. But more importantly, and this is a very key point, Edo girls or Edo people should be trumping up their own girls as role models to these other girls, so they know that they have other careers and these girls are doing very well. The biochemist who discovered something, I published 11 of them.
That is Professor Helen Asemota.
Exactly.
She's
you've got the first female mechanic graduated. She's an Edo girl, Sandra Akwebo, I think.
Quite a lot of them. I even wrote some down. We have the Missy Fueko Omoigui, the first woman head of the Federal Inland Revenue Service. That's a Benin woman.
Yes.
Professor Helen Asemota, a foremost researcher in the field of molecular biology, biochemistry, and nanotechnology.
Yes.
The Professor Francisca, that's also a Benin woman. She's a leading journalist. Senator Franca, she's the Nigerian's first female senator. Miss Sandra Ekbero, Nigeria's first woman mechanic.
Yes, that's
Professor Helen Osinowu, the first professor of clinical psychology. Miss Mabel, the first woman to play table tennis in Nigeria. Reverend Dr. Margaret Benson Idaosa, Africa's first female university chancellor. Professor Yinka Omoregbe, the first African member of the academic advisory group of SEEERIL International Bar Association. And then we also have the Miss Anne Marie Imafidon, like the Imafidons, you know, world record holder for the youngest girl to pass A-level competing at age 13. These are all Benin women.
They are all Benin women. So, wonderful women. And I must add, we
have a Benin woman too.
Amber Eve Idumoyi, first class honors,
in computer science.
In computer science, host of Amber, what's the show called?
Lyfebites.
Lyfebites. You know, she's doing very well. I mean, she's wrestling this big topic right here, and watch her in the future. She's going to be the new Oprah Winfrey.
Thank you.
I don't think Benin women are prostitutes. But like you said, it's a stereotype, and people want to believe from afar the first thing they hear about a person. It's just the natural way to think of. I think all the things you said about Benin people is good, but then I feel like the community needs to come together, because the research is like when they go on the streets, the exploiters or the traffickers are plighting the trade in the open.
Yes.
So what is the community, the Benin community or the little community doing to stamp this out? Because fundamentally they have to stand up. And if they don't want that in their environment, they need to fight for that. Because as much as you're talking about the stereotype and all these other things and the positives, you have to fight for the things you want as a people.
Yes.
So if someone is selling your daughters and your children, your people on sexual exploitation, and you are there living like it's normal, you need to fight for your people as well.
And in fact, that brings me to the next question, which is how can we prevent these girls from being a victim of trafficking?
Yeah.
Right. I think the very short answer to that is the government. There needs to be an attitudinal change through trafficking, through prostitution, and the magnitude of the problem is not yet being seen by the people. They don't know that these girls are actually selling their most important asset, which is their time and energy, their youth, you know, and the culture, because the children they're going to be having are going to be children of prostitutes, so to say. Further down the line, they're not yet thinking about 20 years from now what people are going to be thinking about the children born. But okay, the solution is the government needs to know that to control the narrative, they need to put the money, they need to put their own money behind everything and make it incentivize it, so that whoever is practicing the trade of prostitution or trafficking, he now knows that somebody is willing to tell on him because there's money there for anybody who passes that information. So right now there's no incentive for anybody to stop trafficking. That's why it's there.
And also I think like you said, the gravity of the problem is very big. Because when you told me about it and I started checking, and I realized it was massive, because I was coming from this emotional point of view about young people as young as 14, 16. I read it on BBC as well. The two girls were brought to the UK to go to Greece and Spain, and they do this on a regular basis. So when I checked, because I have housemates that I know, and I spoke to them, and they're like, they understand my emotional angle, but this is real in their part. It's very real, and it's not just a problem you can just rub off. It's in, like I said before, it's in all services. It's generating income. So when you try to touch people's money, they fight back at you. So it's something that we need a government, like you say, that's going to apply the laws and make sure they work. Because there's some big people in this industry that are not willing to lose their money.
That's right.
So it's a big entrenched problem.
Yeah.
What advice do you have for someone right now who is thinking of embarking on such a journey? Who wants to go through the Libya route to get to Europe for prostitution?
I think for every journey we want to make in life, we normally count the cost. And if we feel like the cost is worth it, we'll take it, whatever anybody tells us. Now, for someone that's suffering in Benin, and he's looking at the level of poverty and I was going to make it, and it's like, there's no hope. I'm already going through this. If I go on that journey, is worse here. So what's the worst that can happen? That's why people are encouraged to do it. I would say be patient. Try to develop yourself personally. It's hard to say this to people because people don't see the reason. They're just like, you're just saying that because you don't know my pain.
You don't know my pain.
And it's true, I don't know anybody's pain, but you need to.
But each and every one of us have gone through some struggles in our life.
And time. And crisis happens to everybody. But you need to look beyond the crisis and see the opportunity that it presents. So I feel like be patient, find purpose in yourself, find a fulfillment that makes you happy, and just go live life like you don't want anything from it, but to give everything to it.
Wow. Live life like you don't want anything from it, but to give. I actually love that. Live life like you don't want anything from it, but to
give everything.
To give everything to it. That's actually cool. And also the reason why this is so personal to me is because I know of someone who was so close to me that went on that route, and she died in the sea. Like, even till now we couldn't even find the body. So you can imagine such a thing is
traumatic.
My fellow Edo girls back home, seriously, it's not worth it. It's not worth the journey.
I think we need to disabuse our people, the girls. It's a multifaceted problem. However, I want the girls to know that there is no, they don't pluck money overseas.
Exactly. You don't.
Nobody does it. Nobody.
You work for it.
You work hard for it.
Yeah.
Now, this Libya, I mean this Italy or Europe or anywhere you're going to via Libya or via the Sahara Desert, a lot of people die. For those who survive, they still become slaves. For those who do cross over eventually, which may be 5% out of 100,
1%
even make it across, and you say, okay, my head is different, I will go.
And you pray about yourself.
Exactly.
If there's anything just to take from this one, the money you save to give to your trafficker, that money, if you invest it in Nigeria, wherever you are, just pray to the same God you were praying to before to help you, to give you sense, so that you can invest your money and discipline yourself. Right now, intelligent people over here who I do, we have this stereotype we are fighting, because we're not, I mean, Edo girls are not prostitutes. My mom, my sisters, they are hardworking people doing very well. We have professors who are Edo girls. They need to be champions. You need to look for your nearest one, make them your role model. Chapter 3 of my book actually goes into one of the reasons of the problem, which is denial. Denial is not a river in Egypt, as you know, right? But that's the problem. See, a lot of our people deny, oh no, prostitution, there's a problem. Unless we tackle it head on, it will remain. So please get my book, Restructuring or Acculturing of Nigeria, and you get to understand that we are actually our own problem because we are not tackling the problem head on.
Okay, thank you very much for coming
on Lyfebites. It's been so nice hearing you guys talk on this topic because it was really personal to me as well. That being said, do not forget to follow us on our different social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and of course subscribe to our YouTube channel to get notified for every of our posts. Okay, you have a blessed day and stay beautiful always until next time.